Hello, and welcome to the Salem Station Podcast, a show where we rank and review all of your favorite horror movies. I'm your co host, Robert.
And I'm your co-host Alex, and we're here today with our guest Enrique.
How's it going? Glad to be here.
Glad to have you on. Um, this is movie number 94, which is Terrifier. I actually should explain something last week. I don't know if I explained it well or if I just completely forgot. The whole premise of this podcast is that there's 95 movies that I've seen, and I've ranked them all. So we're going from my least favorite, making our way to number one. So last week was 95, which was Critters. This week is 94, which is Terrifier. And then next week will be 93, 92, and so on.
Yeah, so if you're
Um,
wondering why we started with 95, that's why.
yeah. So there's 95 movies in this list. So you guys, it's going to be 95 episodes, I guess, if the math adds up.
Yeah.
As I said, this week's movie was Terrifier, 2006, 2016, right? Well, I didn't even do my
Yeah.
research. Yeah. Enrique, do you have a favorite horror movie? Is there a horror movie you enjoy watching?
Um, enjoy watching.
Mhm.
There's a
Which is
lot, I'd say, that I enjoy watching.
right. Is there one that is your go-to?
Uh, I guess maybe Evil Dead, the
Ooh,
original, not the remake.
right.
Yeah, the original
Oh,
Evil Dead.
that's a good pick. Oh my god. Alex, have you ever seen Evil Dead?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Okay.
Is that anywhere on your list?
Oh yeah, that is very high on my list. I love Evil Dead. I Evil Dead actually. I know I'm gonna go on a tangent already. E- Evil Dead. Each so there's four movies in the franchise. Each movie in the franchise is vastly different than like the previous one, but they're all regarded as like really good. Like the first one's horror. It's horror. The second one's horror comedy. The third one is there's like no horror elements. It's straight up comedy. And then the fourth one is gore. It's like if you're a gore fan, then that movie is your go-to. Um, but none of them are bad. Like Scream has the same amount of movies. There's four Scream movies. They're all good except for the third. Scream 3 sucks. I hate that movie with a passion. Um, there's four Evil Dead movies. They're each a different movie than the prior one, but they're all really, really good. That franchise I love so much. I can't wait to. I guess we should have you on for Evil Dead. Makes sense to probably have you on for that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, but man, I love that. Oh, there was also a show. I'm pretty sure you know Ash versus Evil Dead.
yeah.
Um,
Same actor
I
too,
watched.
right?
Yeah, yeah, Bruce Campbell. I
Hmm
love Bruce Campbell so much. Groovy. Um, I watched only season one of it.
Mhm.
Now I can't stop thinking about Evil Dead. Evil Dead's really good. Fun fact: did you know that there was supposed to be a sequel to Freddy vs. Jason?
Really?
It was supposed to be Freddy vs. Jason versus Ash.
So,
So
oh
3v3.
wow,
Yeah,
interesting.
I know. I was so mad when I found out that it wasn't made. I was so mad, dude. I know they made a comic on it because I
Uh-huh.
think the comic is based off of the script, but the Necronomicon I believe was supposed to be used. I forget what it was for, but yeah, I the premise of the movie I don't remember what it was, but it was so cool. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm just trying to think how Ash would wind up with anywhere
with
near
Freddy
both
and
of them. Yeah.
yeah, I think it was because I don't remember if it's because Freddy needs the Necronomicon and then ends up meeting Ash, or if
Mhm.
Ash somehow like makes the Deadites return, and that I don't remember. I don't remember what the premise is. I have to look it up.
I'm
But
gonna be real with you
uh,
guys. I'm looking up everything you're saying as I speak. I have no idea what you're talking about.
okay, so Ash is one of my favorite horror characters. He starts off as a survivor in the first movie,
Mhm.
becomes like a hero-ish in the second, and then by the third, he's like this slapstick hero that you just love, and he's like spitting out one-liners
Yeah.
like "Hail to the King." Oh my god. It's so stupid, but it's so great. Like, it's memorable. Terrifier, though. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Back to
Yeah,
Terrifier, the movie we were watching.
yeah.
Some quick
Last week, it
facts
was
about it.
oh,
You're actually correct. It did come out
2016.
2016, but it wasn't like fully released, I guess, until
It wasn't
2018.
theatrical. Oh.
So it was released in 2016, but didn't have like a full release until 2018 is what I'm kind of getting.
Right.
And the budget for the movie was only $100,000, which I know that sounds like a lot, but that is
Right, but compared for a
absolutely
movie, yeah.
minuscule. For like con for to compare, most modern movies have budgets in the millions.
Right.
So this budget was just absolutely
Pretty low.
minuscule. And honestly, I think they did a really good job with the budget that they had. A lot of
Oh,
the
yeah.
special effects are really, really good. But
Hmm.
Yeah, you can
I'd
see
agree with
where
that.
yeah.
the budget shined.
Oh, definitely. They definitely used the set to their advantage, choosing a already run down area, so they didn't have to do much of the scene.
Mhm.
But
They
yeah,
didn't use
you
a
can
lot
definitely
of
tell.
sets either, right?
No, it was all the
No.
same building. It was
Yeah.
literally all the same building. Uh,
Yeah.
but it looks like critics pretty mixed. 64% on Rotten Tomatoes and a
Oh, yeah.
5.6 on IMDb.
I
But
looked up
Google users 77% liked it, so there's that.
I yeah, I looked up before doing the podcast today. I looked up what people thought of the movie, and it's pretty split down the middle. People either just like one of the people in the
Yeah,
movie.
it's like
Um, um, yeah, people either really like it because it's a callback to like 80s slashers, but other people like really don't like it. Um, I
yeah,
guess
no,
you can
it
see where I stand on this
people
movie
either
since
love
it's
it.
movie number 94.
Yeah, people either love this movie or they hate it.
Yeah, I don't hate it. It's just I don't know. There's other horror movies that are like way better. But anyways, we'll go over our general opinions first. Enrique, what'd you think of the movie?
Um, it was definitely a lot different than most traditional horror movies, I guess. I'd even say maybe more different than most slasher movies too. Uh, it didn't really have much of a story as
Right,
far as like what I could
right.
discern. It's kind of just like bits and pieces here and there.
Yeah, it's
And
like you see him do his
mhm.
daily tasks of killing people, I guess.
Right. Like you wonder if this is like a daily occurrence for him or if it's like special event. Who knows? Anyways, but yeah, it wasn't a bad movie. I wouldn't say it was a bad movie. It's shocking for sure,
Right.
and I think that's the point of the movie.
Oh
That's
yeah.
probably what they're going for. I think that's why it's so gory. That's what they're
Yeah.
focusing on,
Yeah.
and I think if there's a specific audience for that, and I think they really targeted that.
If that was their intent, then I'd say they pulled it off pretty well actually.
Hmm.
Alex, what were your thoughts on the movie?
Yeah, I mean, same thing. It was basically just like a mindless hack and slash.
Hmm.
Yeah.
If you're into that, really something just kind of there's no story, just some dude hacking and slashing his way through some innocent people.
Yeah.
And I think
Um
that's what a lot of people liked about it, and at the same time, that's what a lot of people hated about it. Was
Hmm.
just it's just a mindless slasher, nothing more, nothing less. It's got some pretty good effects, better effects than I would say
oh
even
yeah.
some big budget movies. I would say
Hmm.
Oh
they
yeah.
were
Cuz
honestly really impressive.
I know like bigger movies like they tend to use CGI like even
Yeah,
in like slashers, like in the newer Halloween movies, I know they use CGI in a couple scenes,
Hmm.
which like I guess.
it
I mean,
just
I wouldn't
takes
really do
away.
that in a slasher, but in
Yeah,
this like it's really good.
yeah.
Hmm.
There's almost no CGI in this movie. Almost everything is practical effects, which really adds to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Um
shocking some of the stuff that's practical, right?
No,
oh
no, it's
yeah.
insane. It really
Oh
is.
yeah. And they're not afraid to show you. Like they're proud of what they have done, which
Hmm.
if you're I mean honestly, I too would not hold back.
Yeah.
It's respectable,
Um
honestly, especially with the budget that they had.
let me see if there's the director I believe was also the writer for the film now.
Yeah, he was. So the
Um
director and the writer
Damien
is
Leone.
yeah, Leone, and this actually
Yeah.
wasn't his first movie. It wasn't even the his first
Oh,
movie with Art the Clown. Art the Clown
oh
actually
yeah.
came out in 2013,
What?
All Hallows
Really?
Eve. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It was
All,
like a short.
it was a short, yeah.
Oh, it's like a short film
Well, no, it was an
before.
hour. Yeah, hour and a half. It was a full film.
Oh. Oh,
Oh
never mind.
shoot.
I thought it was a short. Never
No,
mind.
no, yeah, it was a full movie, an hour and a half film in 2013 called All Hallows Eve, and then there was the second movie called All Hallows Eve 2. The and Art the Clown was actually in those.
Huh.
I think
Yeah, so
I
Art the
think
Clown, this is actually the third movie with that character.
right, I think I misinterpreted it. It's rather a movie with shorts in it. It's an anthology, there we go.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not like a full movie.
So he's like but a part of like a smaller thing. So I guess this could be like Terrifier's more his full length film debut.
Yeah,
Right.
I think
That's
Terrifier was the most well received of the 3 films.
right.
I believe. Not by much, but I think it's the most well received.
I would say it's definitely the most recognizable.
Definitely
Mhm.
had the biggest budget, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, I haven't seen the other, so I can't like testify to that, but
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
sure
I'm
it
looking.
does.
I think it had the biggest budget. But he's definitely an interesting character. It's just so interesting the
Right.
uh the practical effects they have on him. Like it's just a
Mhm.
bald cap and just some makeup. It's just
Oh yeah. Oh, I saw an interview with I
Mhm.
think I don't know if it was the director, but it takes I believe 2.5 to 3 hours to apply that makeup on his face.
Oh
oh my
man.
god.
So those were
Which is
prosthetics, like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
his cheekbones and stuff.
Yeah.
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 That must be insane. But good to the makeup department because it's a pretty I would say it's a pretty like jarring visual.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Which
insane.
now that I think about it, the fact that his suit is like white and black when there
Mhm.
is blood on it, it kind of like pops. I don't know if that makes any sense. Like
No, yeah, it
No,
definitely
yeah.
does.
it
Yeah, it
stands
definitely
out
popped.
on him, which is a cool. It's a really cool visual.
Mhm.
My opinions on the movie, I guess. I guess it could have. It's probably it's mostly the story or the
Mhm.
lack of it.
Yeah.
Um, I always I don't know why. It's probably not a good comparison, but I compare it to Saw. I know we
Mhm.
made a bunch of jokes about Saw in the movie, but um Saw is notorious for having a really, really, really small budget. Um
Mhm.
the first one at least. The sequels they went insane, but the first one is notorious for having a really small budget. There's not a lot of gore in it, but what they're able to do with Saw is create a very interesting crime story that you're hooked on.
Mhm.
This movie, I feel like I don't know if the budget is comparable to Saw's. I
Mhm.
know
Definitely
Saw's
not.
was pretty small, but
Yeah, it's probably still more than
Yeah.
right, Saw, I feel like its strengths were in its writing department,
Mhm.
Yeah, Saw's
whereas
budget was 1.2.
this is where that movie might have needed to shine,
Mhm.
especially with like modern horror, because you have to compete with a lot of. Because that movie came out 2016, and that was like around Conjuring 2, which is another James Wan film.
Mhm.
Um, but obviously Conjuring 2 has a way bigger budget, but like the story is also like I feel like story is important.
Yeah.
It Chapter 1, I think It Chapter 1, I think was that 2016? Let me look. It might have been the same year actually. Let me
Fun
see.
fact about
It might have been
Saw.
that year. Yeah.
Fun fact about Saw is its budget of 1.2 million. It's considered a small budget, so you can only
Yeah.
imagine what a budget of 100,000 is, and it was only shot in 18 days.
Saw was
Um
or
Saw
Terrifier?
Saw was shot
Oh.
in 18 days.
Oh wow.
yeah, I know Saw the premise or at least the stories I hear is that James Wan and Lee Wanell they
Mhm.
were both told to make a story revolving about a room, which is why the room like if you remember the Adam and I forget the other guy's name, they wake up in the room
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
beginning, and that story stems from there. They were told to make a horror movie about that, and then just
Mhm.
go use your budget, whatever you have, which wasn't much. I know this isn't much either, but like Saw like grew into a franchise, which is still going strong today. There's a movie
Yeah.
called Spiral, Book of Saw coming out like what a year from now.
Mhm.
So yeah, Saw was able to pull off something really cool, but I think it's because of the story, which is where I think this movie might have shined. I know in the interview for Terrifier, there's a sequel coming out, Terrifier 2, and the director had said that he is planning on expanding the story, which I'm kind of looking forward to, hopefully, because this movie kind of lacks character. There's no
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
no, I mean,
characters.
again, there's no real story.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure they were just going for visuals, which is, props to them.
Yeah, honestly,
Yeah. No complaints there.
it does a fairly decent job of carrying.
This movie obviously is above Critters, but I think the gap between Critters and this movie is pretty significant.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, definitely.
yeah, it's pretty significant. Critters is like down and then
I'm
makes a huge jump.
Enrique, I'm so glad you weren't here for that movie.
Oh god. So I guess we'll go over the plot of the movie. So me and Alex had actually seen this movie, like I think, like a couple years back, if not last year, the year before.
Yeah, it was
Um,
definitely last year.
and to be honest, there are a lot of things that I forgot. Like the movie begins with an interview
Mhm.
that is shown on TV, which I'd completely forgotten about. There's a woman with a very scarred face, and when they reveal it, like it's pretty jarring. I might
Yeah.
put in Enrique's reaction into the audio.
Insert Enrique's reaction here.
If you're just tuning in, I'm sitting here live with the sole survivor of the Miles County Massacre, which occurred exactly 1 year ago today.
Oh yeah, I remember this
I've
intro.
worked
For
on
some
the show
reason,
for
I
many
thought
years,
this
and
intro
I've
was
never
another
sat across from someone who has a
was
story
part
to
of
tell
another
quite
movie.
like
I forgot it
yours.
was part of this movie.
Thank you again
I
for taking the
remember
time to
the
sit down and speak with me.
I forgot
My
about this whole
pleasure.
part.
Yeah, you,
Now, when we left
This
off, we were
lady's
talking about the
haunting.
moment you woke up from the coma. Do you remember your initial reaction when you first saw your face?
Yes.
Would you like
I
to
know
share
my
that with
initial
us?
reaction.
Oh
I wish
shit!
I was
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Do you still feel that way?
And that's
People are
Enrique's
frightened
initial
by the way that I
reaction
look.
caught on camera.
Especially children.
It's so drawing. Once again, the makeup is really good on her face.
It is insane. It is very, very good.
Yeah, and it's through the narrative of the interview, it's revealed that she's a survivor from an incident. They don't say what the incident is, but they say she's a survivor of it.
The only survivor, right?
The only
Yeah,
survivor, yeah.
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 And then it's shown after the interview, like the woman is like judging her, like, which to be fair, we did too. She's like judging her looks, like, oh, like she was like a creep, like if you think she looked bad on TV, like she looked worse, like up front in person. And then the woman with the scarred face, she like comes out and just assaults her, like kills her.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, out
totally
of nowhere.
unexpected.
Yeah. But the makeup on the face too, like was that the face where like the tongue was sticking out?
I think
I don't
so. When
remember.
she gouged her eyes out
Yeah,
with
she
her
Yeah.
proceeds to
thumbs.
gouge her eyes out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty gnarly
Um
stuff.
And that's like the
honest
first real like
kill.
showing of the
Yeah,
practical effects in the movie.
it
Other
sets
than
the
the makeup.
tone for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, the tone of just like absolute
Yeah.
gore and surprise.
And then they mentioned Art the Clown in the interview. I remember.
Yeah, yeah. They
Um
say
His appearance, right? They mentioned his appearance.
his appearance
Or
and that he
yeah.
only is known by Art the Clown.
yeah.
Yeah, which is the only way we ever get like his name in the movie, I think. And then you're shown dress up montage of how he puts on his suit. You have Art
How
the
he gets
Clown
ready
putting
for
on
his
his little
day.
makeup.
Mhm.
Yeah, putting on his little bowler hat, and
And
it's revealed that it's Halloween night, I believe.
Mhm.
Oh, I'm looking up the girls' names. Her name's Tara, not Tara.
Tara. Yeah, so we
Yeah,
thought it was
Interesting.
Tara, so we thought,
Tara.
terrifying, but no, it's Tara.
Okay,
We thought they were
made
that shameless.
never
It just
mind.
plugged the name of the movie as one of the characters.
I mean, you never
Yeah.
know.
Tara and Don, I believe they're leaving a party or
Mhm.
something, and they're gonna
Because
go get a
Dawn is drunk.
Very
yes,
much
Well,
yes,
so.
yes,
She is very much drunk, yes.
yeah, and they encounter Art on the street, I believe, and he's
Mhm.
just like staring at them. Which I have to admit, like props to the actor for
Mhm.
Art the Clown. It's pretty jarring, pretty
He is. He is very jarring. And his
he's in the
proportions
way
are
he
just
acts. Oh
yeah.
yeah,
His proportions are really interesting. He has like the witch's nose and a really long
yeah,
chin, and his ears are
Yeah.
hidden under like a bald cap that he wears. So he
yeah.
seems human enough, but somewhat not human.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Just really disturbing.
They think they leave him behind. They go to get a bite of pizza. When they enter and, sit down in order, I guess. He presumes to enter as well and sits down like across from them. And he's making faces at Tara, which is very creepy. And then Dawn proceeds to go over to him and like harass him, I
It just
guess.
She
yeah,
like
no,
climbs
it's
right all over him.
Yeah.
immediately climb over him, harass him, and take selfies with him.
Yeah, she's taking selfies of him like, woman, you gotta ask first. Which is probably why he goes after them. He's like, you know what, you made a fool out of me.
Yeah, right. He's probably hurt.
Could be, yeah, could be.
He's probably
Yeah.
like his pride is just like hurt.
He probably wasn't even like planning on murdering people, but he's like, you know what? For you to
That
make
set
such
him
a
off.
face.
Yeah, that set him off.
Yeah.
It was that one
That one,
action,
yeah,
just taking pictures of with him, and yeah.
it was that one event that set him off.
So they order their pizza. They bring out their pretty poor looking pizza slices. The pizza shop owner goes to ask Art what he wants to order, obviously. And, Art doesn't answer because Art doesn't talk. He's like a 80s horror villain, doesn't talk.
Yeah, he
Um,
just keeps staring.
with and the guy's like, "Oh, if you're not gonna order, then leave." Art proceeds to go to the bathroom, and I thought he was gonna go kill someone, but we're shown later that what he does in the bathroom, which gets him kicked out, by the way, is he writes like what his name in with his own feces, I guess.
He just defecates everywhere. It is horrendous.
And they show you it's
It is
disgusting.
disgusting.
They show a guy having to clean it off, which I'm like, that guy doesn't get paid enough to
No,
to
he
deal
does
with that.
not. But before we're shown that, the girls leave in their car, or they
Oh
they
yeah,
leave to go to their car,
yeah, yeah.
and they find that
And
the tires are slashed, or one of the
yeah,
tires is slashed, the front right tire, and they
yeah.
proceed to call Tara, was it? Not
Tara's
Tara, Tara.
Tara,
Tara
yeah, yeah.
proceeds to call her sister, who's at a college dorm room. I suppose it's not explained. I can only guess
I think
because
so. She has a
uh
roommate
yeah, her drunk roommate comes in and
making out with the guy.
yes, proceeds to make out with the guy. So she's like, "Well, I mean,
And
might as well go pick up my sister if they're just gonna be sitting here doing this."
yeah. Yeah, and then so while they're waiting, we're shown the guy cleaning the bathroom then after, and he's trying to call out to his friend, and he goes out to the front of the store and he sees the decapitated head of his friend, which has been turned into a jack-o'-lantern.
Like a full jack-o'-lantern too, like candles
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah, and
Quite well
then
done, actually.
oh yeah.
I commend
Oh
him.
yeah, very well
I
done.
commend him.
I know in the I was mentioning in the commentary that uh they did the same thing in the Halloween movie. I'd say it looks better here than in the Halloween movie.
Yeah, it is very much practical effects, and I don't know. How do you think they did it? I don't know. Maybe they had him like
They
under the
probably did a
table and that was
cast.
his real head? Or do you think it was a cast?
Oh, I think it was a cast because I think they made the cast for the head and then just put. I mean, I'd say that's the easy way to go, I guess.
Yeah, especially budget wise, I guess.
Mhm.
You can just reuse it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you only have to use it for that one shot. The buddy who was cleaning the bathroom up, I forgot. Oh, Art comes out and attacks him and cuts off his fingers, which yikes.
As he's trying to pick up the phone, so his hand gets absolutely
Oh
demolished.
yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
again, the
Oh
effects are very, very good. Like you
yeah, yeah,
really
yeah.
feel like that's what would happen.
I
That
just
that
remembered.
specific thing were to happen to that poor man's hand.
Yeah, he's picking up the phone to call the police, which let me tell you is not done often in this movie. No
It's not
one,
done often enough, no.
almost no one, like gets the idea that hey, let me call the authorities to come get this guy until like the end.
And we're
Um,
talking the very
so then the two people in the pizza shop, they're taken out, and we go back to Tara and Don, and it's revealed that Tara has to go to the bathroom because horror movie cliche, I
and
guess.
the plot has to move forward somehow.
Yeah, and so there's this random building with the random guy, what, for pest control for the rats. She asks to use the bathroom.
Yeah, so she
And
after just having an encounter with some creepy random stranger, she proceeds to go to another random stranger to ask to use the restroom.
yeah, have you not learned anything? Honestly, they probably would have been alive if they had not done that.
Oh, probably, definitely. I mean, then again, I guess their
Uh,
car didn't work.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess that's true.
I don't know. They're just kind of
Um,
fucked.
so yeah, she goes in, and then the Don is still in the car, and someone enters the car, and you're supposed to assume, I guess, that it's Tara, but it's Art, and he kidnaps her, and you don't see her for a while. You're wondering where's Dawn? Where's Dawn? Oh, you'll see where she ends up.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
not in a good
Um.
place. Not in a good place.
Oh no, no. So then Tara gets out of the bathroom, and once again, I like this movie's full of random people. There's a random like crazy old lady in this building who thinks the doll is her child, I guess. And
Yeah, she's like living in the basement of the building. She just kind of acts as like a creepy character that just kind of walks around.
yeah, 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 and like trying to take care of her porcelain doll or whatever. Um, yeah, and so Tara tries to go escape, and Tara, she sees Art, and he proceeds to like chase her down the garage, and he stabs her in the foot, like, or ankle, like 3 times or so.
And you would think, right? Like she would not be walking after that, but nah, she runs like a champ.
So there's also the guy, the fumigator. His name is Mike. She tries to alert him, but then he proceeds to like inject her in the neck to like sedate her.
And Mike's
Oh,
wearing headphones and blasting music at
oh yeah,
absolute max volume
because
for
he
no
can't
reason.
hear her. He
Yeah,
can't hear her screaming, but he does hear the jump scare sound effect.
yeah, because
Because
that's the only
when
time he turns around.
the jump scare happens, he's like, huh, huh?
You would think, right? You would at least hear somebody scream. Like those headphones can't be that good that you can't
Oh
hear
no,
somebody screaming from 6 feet
no.
away.
Yeah. So then Tara wakes up. She's like tied down to a chair, and she's like wondering where she's at, right? Art the clown reveals what would be his grand masterpiece. It's Dawn hanging upside down.
And yeah,
Um
and this is the scene, like the scene in this movie.
yeah. If someone talks about Terrifier, this is the scene they'll always reference. She is naked upside down, and he takes out a saw.
Grabs the
Right.
saw and places it on her nether regions. And you can
Yes,
only imagine what scene
yes.
comes next
He proceeds to saw his way,
through her body,
just
right
saws her
down
in
Main
half,
Street.
Mm-hmm.
and you see her guts fly out. It is
And I
she's
think the
cut in half.
worst part of that, she doesn't like, she keeps squirming until he's halfway.
Uh,
Ugh,
yeah,
It's so graphic.
it really is. It is horrifying. It is.
uh,
I think it is the single most disturbing scene I've ever seen in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Like any movie. And I've seen horrible things in war movies, but no, this takes the cake.
honestly, I would love to put the visuals so you guys can see it on YouTube, but
No,
no, I
no,
get
no, 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 no,
demonetized.
no.
I don't think
Demonetized.
that
We don't even
You
have
we
applies
will
money on
not
anyway.
we will not be placing that visual anywhere.
He forces Tara to see what
Watch.
he's doing to
Yeah.
her. Yeah, to watch
So
what he's
she's
doing to
tied
her
down
friend.
and watches this entire thing go down.
Tara, right after he's done, right after he's like at the head, like her head, and he's sawn,
Mm-hmm.
Tara manages to free herself from the chair, turns around to start running, and it's almost as if though he's caught off guard, and he's like, "Enough of this." He enough of this slasher business. He takes out a gun and proceeds to just shoot her.
And then just blast her out of
She just
nowhere.
shoots her in the leg,
Yeah.
It caught us all
randomly.
off guard. We were like,
Just
"Oh."
completely
What
out of nowhere, he
what kind
pulls
of
an Indiana
slasher
Jones.
villain? What kind of slasher villain carries a gun?
No, he legit pulled an Indiana Jones. Like, he was just like, you know what? I'm sick of this shit, and just fucking murked her right then and there.
Yeah,
Well, she's not
honestly,
dead yet, right? At this
No, no,
oh
point.
no,
no,
not at
no,
this
no, no.
point. He shoots her in the leg.
Yeah,
Mhm.
she shoots her in the leg. She's on the ground.
He shoots her a couple more times, like in the chest and the shoulder.
In the face too, right? Like in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
cheek.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then ultimately in the cheek.
yeah. He shoots her then in like, yeah, the forehead, And then I guess he's
Not
tired
not in the
of it.
forehead, not
In the
in the
cheek.
Oh,
forehead,
Yeah,
yeah, in the
first.
oh, in the
cheek.
cheek.
So she's still
Oh,
alive, and then he runs out of ammunition right before he's about to shoot her,
Right,
and he has the
right.
most annoyed look on his face. He's just like, "Oh my god."
not
He's just
today.
he's just like, "Well, it's gonna be one of those nights," and then he proceeds to go to his bag and rummage through it, looking for more ammunition. Like, did I leave it next to the hammer or the saw? So he's rummaging for ammunition. He finally finds the other magazine for the pistol, and um, her phone starts ringing, and it's her
Oh
sister
yeah.
who just pulled
Mhm.
up in front of the building, who somehow knew. The sister somehow knew they were in
Which
that
building
building
to go to? Yeah.
when the building was never mentioned to her. So I guess plot
Mhm.
Yeah.
advancement. I
Definitely
guess.
Probably.
plot.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So he
And then he
texts
gets.
her.
Oh yeah,
Right.
like
He texts her
super
like,
excited.
Dawn is sick. Come around back. Something like that.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And then he goes back to Tara and like just proceeds with the most annoying look on his face, shoots her, empties out his magazine
Yeah,
into
just
her face.
Basically, yeah, yeah.
completely unloads on her to the
He
point where
looks
she is
so annoyed
nigh
too.
unrecognizable.
Oh yeah. Oh, most of these kills after he's done, their faces are not
I
recognizable.
was gonna
Oh no.
say they probably had to do like a face cast of every single character in this
Yeah,
movie
no, I
Yeah.
mean definitely.
just
It-
for the practicals.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's insane the amount of cast they
Yeah.
probably had to do.
And so after he's done with that, he notices the crazy old lady with the porcelain doll baby.
Mhm.
She goes for help. She calls Mike, the pest control guy. And poor Mike, honestly, he's just doing his job. This random chick goes up to him, asks for the bathroom, takes her inside. This other chick goes up to him, telling him that there's a clown, there's a murderer in here. And then when Tara's sister comes in later and is, like he encounters her, he's like, "What's going on here? This ain't no party."
Yeah. Meanwhile, by the
He's so
way, this
confused.
entire time, this guy has had his headphones in, and he's just been vibing this entire time through the
Yeah,
gunshots, through the
just
screaming.
fumigating.
Yeah,
He's
through the
like,
gunshots, through the screaming, through the hammering,
"Oh
everything.
yeah,
This guy's just been there
oh my
vibing through it
god,
all.
You're
yeah." There's
right.
there's no way he wouldn't have heard the
There's no way
gunshots.
you
Like
can't hear
Or the
first.
gunshots.
screaming when Dawn was
Oh
getting cut
yeah,
No,
in half.
not even the screaming, the gunshots. Like
that
you
guy.
would have heard the gunshots.
She asks Mike for help, which Mike is like, "Okay, I guess." And then she
calls
leaves.
calls
He's
911, right?
no, not yet.
Oh,
No,
no,
not
not yet.
even. Not even
You're
yet.
right.
He's just doing he's just vibing, and
Uh-huh.
then he turns around, arts there, and just whacks him right on the head with the hammer.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Which,
one good
yikes!
solid whack right in the forehead.
His phone starts ringing because it's his buddy, his
His coworker.
coworker,
Yeah.
and I think Art answers,
No.
and
Does he
or was
answer?
No,
or
he
was the
doesn't
phone
answer.
already?
The phone was already like picked up.
Oh
The
yeah,
call
yeah,
was
yeah.
already picked up.
Yeah,
And
there
then
was
it's just
just
Okay,
like
no
when he
answer.
drops the phone, yeah,
right. And Art just proceeds to smash the phone, I guess.
with the hammer.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, with said hammer,
Um,
yes.
yeah, and then so we cut to the crazy old lady. She's rummaging around her stuff, and she can't seem to find her doll child, I guess.
Hmm.
And you see Art like cradling it,
Yeah.
um, and she's like, "Oh, please, like, leave it alone. You don't know a mother's touch," and
Yeah, she's
proceeds
like
to like,
trying to get to the human part of this thing.
Of Art the
yeah,
clown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, and she's like begins to like caress him and stuff, and Art's like,
Yeah.
I don't
Starts like
know.
cradling him in her arms.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. I was
Spoiler
then
like,
alert, does not work.
Art's
"Oh,
yeah.
no, it's not." And we cut away from that scene.
Hmm.
You don't see what happens, but don't worry, we'll get back to that
Yeah,
soon.
we will
Um,
unfortunately get back to that scene.
Vicky, I guess that's the name of
Tara's
yeah,
sister.
Yeah.
Tara's sister.
Horrible name, by the way.
Every time I hear
Sorry to
Vicky,
all you named Vicky. I'm just Timmy Turtle,
yeah,
Very Odd
that's
Parents.
what I was
That you
gonna
ruined that
that's
name
what I was
for me.
gonna say too.
I'm sorry.
Every time
Blame
the
the
only
show, not
Vicky
me.
I know is Timmy Turner's babysitter. There's another name that every time I hear, I just associate it to cartoon. Dee Dee from Dexter's
From
Oh,
Dexter.
Laboratory.
Dee Dee, yeah, from Dexter, yeah.
Dee Dee, get out of my laboratory.
Another
Um,
bad one.
yeah. Anyways, whoops. Um, Vicky arrives and she she's there to obviously, take Tara and Dawn home. Oh, she
Mhm.
doesn't know the surprise that awaits her. She's told by Arctic Clown because he texted her to like enter the building. She sees like I think she sees like blood stains and whatnot, and then she sees Dawn like just
Yeah, because she hears her sister's phone, right?
yeah,
Or Dawn's
and
phone. Yeah.
one of their phone, Dawn's phone, yeah, and because Tara's phone, they made sure we saw that her phone was dead in the beginning.
Right.
Um, and she sees Dawn like strung up. That's when she realizes, uh-oh, I've stepped into a horror movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's cut down the middle.
Yeah,
Ugh.
Ugh, not a good visual.
Yeah.
comes across what we are made to believe is the crazy lady.
Yes.
But it's not. You see the crazy lady in another part of the room, and she's like weeping, I guess, or if she's I don't know if she's dead already, but or if she's
No,
still
she's
alive.
still alive.
No,
Yeah.
she's unfortunately still alive. You'll
Mhm.
And
see
you
why.
see her chest is all bleeding, and you're like, oh. And then you see the lady that we were supposed to assume was her. You cut back to her, but it's actually Art, and he's wearing like a wig, I
It's
think.
her scalp, actually.
Yeah,
It's
it
the
Oh,
lady's
it was?
scalp.
it
Yeah.
was the lady's
Oh,
scalp
I didn't even
Yeah.
notice that.
and her breast. He cut off
Mhm.
her
Oh
breast.
yeah,
And
he
he was
cut him
wearing
off.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Again,
Buffalo Bill from. It reminded me of Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, yeah,
He
yeah,
didn't.
yeah. I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about. Yeah.
but yeah, and then he proceeds to chase chase her, and he dances around like seductively, I guess.
Yeah, he's his
Um,
new body, I guess.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's all.
He
I
was
joked around.
feeling
He's all
himself
for.
though. He was
Mhm.
definitely feeling himself.
Yeah, he was all there for body positivity.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're all there for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vicky then proceeds to go hide in the closet, and he like tries to get her to get out of it. But then you have Mike's coworker show up because his phone, Mike never answered the call, or he did, but he didn't like
Mhm. Yeah,
answer
say
his
anything,
question or whatnot.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he arrived, wondering, what's going on, and Art goes down to presumably get dressed and go encounter this guy. The guy, the coworker. We don't get a name, do we? I don't think
Um,
so.
Mm,
don't remember. I
yeah,
don't think
I
so.
don't think so. Nothing memorable. Not that we're
Yeah.
gonna need to remember anything.
He tries to enter, but it's locked, and he's about to leave. But then he remembers, like every stupid homeowner, there's a key under the mat, and sure enough, there's a key under the mat. He enters the building, or encounters him, and proceeds to decapitate him.
Yeah, he
And I don't mean
sticks
decapitate. I
sticks
don't
a knife
mean
in his head.
yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not spared any second of it, shown how he
Nothing is left to the
cuts through.
imagination,
Yeah.
essentially. It is
Yeah.
all shown. Or you're
Oh yeah,
enjoying.
no. Yeah, he stabs him first to the top of the head,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then proceeds to cut right down his throat. Honestly, a pretty clean cut.
Oh,
Um,
actually, he doesn't he kind of like open his neck and then he like just rips off his head,
oh yeah,
right?
yeah.
With like his own hands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with his
Crazy.
bare hands, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I
Doesn't
think
give
it
you much time to recover.
at this point it cuts back to Mike, right? He wakes up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He
Mike
wakes up.
wakes up, he comes back, and
Yeah.
he saves
no,
her.
not yet.
Oh no.
Not
Oh.
yet, because
Forget
he
what I said.
Art the
Forget what I
Clown.
said.
No. I mean, that kind of does happen, but before that, Art the Clown takes out his makeshift weapon and proceeds to. It's
Oh,
like
just beat her. It's just a whip with some nails on it. It's just horrendous.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's
then
like a
that's
whip with
where
nails and blades and stuff on it.
You know, like
yeah, and that's where Mike comes back
Mhm.
to save her.
yes, chains
Which
and whips excite him.
and I was referencing how they should have learned from Zombieland. You double tap, you make sure they're down.
Yeah,
Mhm.
always
Nah,
double that.
it always makes me mad when they don't do that in a horror movie. But it's probably because they have never seen Zombieland and I have. Mike and Vicky escape. They leave Art there because they presume he's gonna be knocked out for a while. No, he's
Yeah,
gonna come back
because
soon.
Mike comes back somehow. How is Mike walking? You would think,
Oh
right?
yeah,
He's
he'd
walking. He's
have a
talking
concussion.
completely fine. You would think he had a concussion, but no,
Yeah.
he's fine. He comes
And
back. He
then
stabs
he calls
Art.
911, right?
Yes,
And then he
he
finally calls 911. Yeah.
he does the one thing people should have done.
Yeah, and then no, and he's about to call 911, and Vicky's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"No, don't do that." And he's like, What are you talking about? The phone's right there." She's so traumatized.
Dude,
she's like, she's like,
not
"Please."
only that, I feel like Mike's the only reasonable human being in
Mm-hmm.
this movie.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
even
Maybe
when
Tara, kinda
yeah,
Tara, a little
Tara,
bit.
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because he then calls the police, and the dispatcher is so
She sounds like
uncaring.
she's going on her lunch break in 15 minutes. She's like, "Oh, well, let's make this quick. Where are you guys at? Oh, she's hurt. Is she breathing? Is she okay?
Where's
Like
she
she just
hurt
doesn't
at?
Way
care."
too many questions for an emergency
Yeah,
situation.
Yeah,
like not
is he
even where they're at or anything. Just like, is she
Mike?
conscious?
Mike does the job of saying, going straight to the point. He's killed 2 people, he's assaulted her. Get here soon before he wakes up because he's not gonna be down out for long. And
Hmm.
she's like, "Okay, where what was she hurt at?"
Yeah,
Bruh, it isn't until after that she's like, "Okay, we'll send paramedics there."
yeah. We'll
Like,
send medic.
you send paramedics first, and then you ask to keep them on the phone, I guess. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but no, she's like,
Um
"No, I want to get the whole story. Tell me your life story.
Yeah.
How was your day?"
I'm off soon, buddy. So you better make this good.
Yeah, you better make this good. This is cutting into my lunch break, man.
Yeah. And then so after that 911 call, Art the Clown reappears and proceeds to ki- he kn- he knocks Mike to the ground with
Hmm.
Mike's pest equipment, and then once he's on the ground, proceeds to raise his big 18 size foot, and he just stomps on his head multiple times.
So we
Hmm.
can assume that Mike is down for the count. Finally,
Well, yeah, half of
if
his
we're good
nose
this
is
time.
missing.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, his
Yeah,
head just pops.
Yeah. No. Again, good practical
which
effects though. Have to give
Hmm.
him that.
again, now that I think about it, the same thing happened in the new Halloween movie as well.
You're right.
Did they steal from this
Yeah.
movie?
I think that's a
And
very
yeah.
common thing in a lot of
Oh, yeah.
horror films. The head
Yeah.
Curb
stomping.
stomping?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
curb
probably.
stomping victims
Vicky escapes and she's outside actually and proceeds to re-enter the building, I guess, in the
somehow.
garage.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then
The
Art the
layout of
Clown
I
tries
just want to mention that the layout of this building is really confusing. You don't really have a lot of like you don't really understand the layout of the building, so it makes it really confusing when you just see people running and they're just
Yeah.
suddenly in a new place. You're like, okay,
Hmm.
how'd they get there? Like you see them run there, but at the same time it's not really clearly shown enough that you're like, where are they in relation to like the entrance or even the other room?
Hmm.
Like are they
right.
outside or the inside? Like the garage, it was really hard to tell that
That
um
it was out like
like out
inside, right?
yeah, like it was inside.
Yeah.
And the lighting
Um
was really dark. It made it really hard
oh yeah.
at times to see writing or even the tire in the
Hmm.
beginning scene when it was cut, you couldn't see the tire at all. So I
Yeah,
guess that's just another budget constraint. They didn't have great cameras.
they were saying how the tire was slashed, but you can't actually see the slashed tire.
Yeah, it might have been a just a
Footage
okay
version.
tire. They just didn't want to show,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
didn't want to destroy a tire for the purpose of the shot, I guess.
And so she enters the garage and he tries to get in right after her, but I guess he's like, I can't fit. And so I thought he was gonna pull out a gun. He pulls out like a clown horn and starts
Oh yeah.
honking at her.
Yeah, just starts honking at her.
He's like, honk, 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 honk.
Honk,
And
honk, honk.
he looks so disappointed. He's like, come over here, come over here.
Get over here, little shit. Earlier in the movie too, he flips her off after she
Oh yeah.
stabs her. She stabs him
Stabs
in
him
the
in the
foot
foot.
with a
Yeah.
nail.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
he
Oh,
another thing
doesn't
is he never makes a noise. He never screams. You never even hear
yeah.
his clothes rustle. So the only way he
Yeah.
communicates is through his face. He makes a lot of really unique facial expressions, and it's just
Hmm.
really funny to see the way his facial expressions speak for him, and just like little things like
Yeah.
him flipping her off. That was hilarious.
Yeah. Doesn't she also at one point like stabs him in the eye, no?
I think that's when she's trying to get into the garage. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
in
yeah.
the eye, and then he starts
Um
honking at her,
yeah,
like get over here, you little shit.
and then he stops, he's like, okay, well I can't go in. And then
Hmm.
you hear the sirens of the
Hmm.
police coming in, and you're like, okay, like she looks out the garage and you were like, okay, they're gonna be showing up soon. And then you see the headlights of another vehicle turn on and proceed to go straight for the camera, and you're like, oh no, that ain't them.
Yeah, I know, it's some dinky truck, and you're like, "Oh, well."
Art the Clown's driving Mater, I guess.
Yeah, and then it goes up to him, and he's just jamming in the truck to the tune.
Yeah, and he proceeds to like barrel down the doors.
Yeah,
Mhm.
he barrels down the doors and her, and he's just sitting in the truck jamming to the tunes for a few seconds after before getting out and checking on her.
He proceeds, they don't show him, they don't show us like how her face looks yet, but he proceeds to eat her face,
While she's
pick at
still
it, and
alive.
While she's still alive,
yeah,
yes,
oh,
she's still
Yeah.
so
alive, and he
It's
just
all off
starts
screen
munching.
though, but yeah.
This is the
yeah, and
one thing
then
they show off screen, and it's because it's shown later that it's the same girl,
yeah,
of course, which I'm guessing you can probably tell
infer,
because she's still alive and she's the only survivor, and
right.
But
And
yeah,
and then the police finally show up
Mhm.
and they're like,
finally
"Oh,
show up. Yes.
they're like, put your hands in the air." And he raises one hand, but delays raising the other. He's like rummaging through his pants, and they're like, "Put the other hand up, put the other hand up." And he pulls out a gun. I thought he was gonna shoot them, but he proceeds to put it in his mouth and blow his brains out. His Art the Clown kills himself.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just a really sudden twist.
Yeah, I the whole ending I'd kind of forgot it from when we
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
last had
but
seen it.
they basically the cops go to the girl and they're like, "Holy shit, she's still alive." So
Yeah.
they take her to the hospital, and then it shows a scene 1 year later. It
Oh
says in
wait,
the corner 1 year later.
we go to the morgue first.
Mhm. You're right, the morgue
Oh,
first.
Yeah,
sorry. We go to the
yeah.
morgue first, and they bring in all the bodies from the event, and the morgue doctor that's bringing in all the bodies, he's like, "Oh man, I would love to see the person who killed all these people," and then one of the assistants was like, "Well, that's body bag number 2." And one of the assistants is like, "Wow, have you ever seen something like this?" And then the main guy's like, "Once you've seen, this is a literal quote from the movie. Once you've seen an 8-year-old microwave to
Eight
death,
8 month old. 8 month old.
8-month-old microwave to death, nothing phases you anymore." Like what? That that's insane. How do you just drop that? That
Yeah,
that single visual is
That
the
was
most
crazy.
horrifying thing in the movie.
It's
Like
so
what?
sudden too.
That's so he
lit.
says it so casually too, and then right after he's like, "Oh yeah, can you give me like a bacon, egg, and cheese croissant?" Like, how do you just how do you just drop that? And then he's like, "Yeah, can you get me? Can you microwave me a croissant?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Bruh."
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
that poor, what if one of those cops was a rookie and he was like, "What?"
Could you imagine? He's like, "Oh my god."
What
But
did I sign up for?
yeah, after that
And
shocking event, um, he
he
looks through the
opens up
body bags and he opens. Who was it that he opened first?
he
Mike.
opens up Mike's.
Oh yeah, Mike, and he's like, "Oh
Yeah.
my god," because he's disfigured completely, and
Mhm.
he looks over at body bag number 2, which is presumably Art, the clown, and so he looks over, he walks over to Art, he opens the bag, and there's Art with this would you say smug look on his face?
He's like
Uh,
smiling, yeah. I
He's
guess.
smiling,
yeah.
and then but he has obviously a hole in his head, so he looks at him, he's like shocked, right? And then all of a
Mhm.
sudden, everything starts, supernatural.
Lights
Everything,
start flickering.
lights start
Mhm.
flickering and everything.
And
And
then you hear the lady's voice, the
Yeah,
old crazy
the
the
crazy
crazy
lady.
lady's voice.
Mhm.
What did she say again? I forget.
She says you're gonna like it here.
yeah, you're gonna
Yeah,
like it here.
like
Yeah.
you just hear it in the background, and
That's
I'm
what
like,
she told Tara, I think, when she entered the building
Yeah,
yeah.
earlier. Mhm.
Um, and then like the lights like go crazy,
Yeah.
which at this point when you watch the movie, you think he's like just like a serial killer, right? He's just a human guy.
Mhm.
Obviously, some extra abilities probably because to be able to make it through all that, but then it's almost like they add this subtle supernatural element to it
Mhm.
because after the lights start flickering,
The doctor turns
obviously,
back around. Yeah.
yeah, and obviously Art comes back and proceeds to choke him out.
Mhm.
Um,
with the hole still in its head, by the way.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I'm guessing he's got a supernatural element to him, which I know this
Or he
movie
was
is a
revived.
call.
Yeah.
Right. This I know this movie was a callback to 80s slashers,
Hmm.
and in 80s it was a popular thing because sequels galore. You gotta have
Hmm.
Yeah.
sequels in every movie. For both Nightmare and Friday the 13th, you had to find a way to take out Freddy or Jason, and then obviously bring him back for the sequel. So that's
Hmm.
probably what it was referencing. Like, oh, he's dead, but he'll be back. Like
That makes
that's like a
sense. Yeah.
if
Yeah,
that's
like
what
they're
it's going for,
defeated
then
for now.
yeah, like Jason's killed by Tommy in movie 4, but he'll be
Hmm.
back by movie 6.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that's what it was going for. And so yeah, Art's back. He gets the doc, and as Alex said, we cut to a year later
And it's
to
revealed
Vicky.
that the girl from the beginning is that girl. It's Vicky.
Hmm.
Yep, Vicky's the girl that was interviewed in the beginning, the
And
sole
roll
survivor.
credits. That's it. That was the movie.
Yep, that's the movie.
Yep.
Much of a plot to the movie, as we'd already said. It's just more a series of events,
There's
an
not a lot.
unfortunate series of events.
Oh yeah. I feel like there's not a lot of plot, but they set up some things that have still not been answered, I think.
Like Art
Maybe?
the Clown overall.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
why did Vicky kill that lady in the beginning? Is
Oh
my
yeah.
question.
Why?
Yeah, no,
Is
it's
it because of her trauma or
and
she
she
just
Hmm.
starts laughing afterwards. So you
Yeah.
definitely wonder, like, is there a supernatural thing going on? Is he possessing
I
her?
Mhm.
think
You
it
don't
might
know.
be meant to throw us off, because
You think
I
so?
remember, yeah,
Oh,
because
yeah.
based off of your reaction and based off of my and Alex's initial reactions when we watched
Mhm.
this a while back, when you're shown Vicky and like on her back on the wheelchair, like I
Uh-huh.
guess you don't assume it's her, because the Vicky we know, like she was just attacked, and the
Mhm.
lady that showed in the beginning attacks someone laughing and enjoying it.
Mhm.
Like it's a completely almost different person. So when it's revealed, then it's her, that you're like, wait a minute, like
Oh,
whoa,
uh-huh.
like you're taken back. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, so you think it
Um,
wasn't really part of, like, the movie, it's just, like, an element that they
yeah,
put
It
in there
could
just to
be,
throw the
yeah.
audience off, that way they don't
yeah,
assume that, like, "Oh, this last girl is gonna be the girl from the beginning."
yeah. It's almost like, well, this is the outcome of
Something
something
separate,
similar that
yeah.
happened. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Um, that's my guess, at least.
Could
Mhm.
be. Yeah,
Um,
that makes sense.
and that's the plot of the film. Enrique, what was your favorite scene from the movie?
Well, definitely the most memorable is gonna be that Saw scene,
Yeah.
but, I think
Yeah.
overall my favorite is it's just gonna be that part where he just pulled out a gun randomly. It's just
Honestly,
so
yeah.
shocking, so it's just, out of character, I guess, but I mean, maybe it fits Art's character somehow?
Yeah, maybe. It doesn't
Yeah,
fit the 80s horror villain trope, but
It's
you're
just
right about
so
that,
shocking.
yeah.
And I love that they
Yeah.
only did it once. Like, honestly,
Mhm.
that was a really funny
Well,
scene. It was a really good scene.
they kinda did it at the end too, but it
oh
was a
yeah,
bit
yeah,
different. It was a bit
yeah.
different.
It was a bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alex, what was your favorite scene?
The gun scene had to be.
Gun scene?
That was
Yeah.
funny.
Mine's either that or the like towards the end scene where he tries to get her, but he can't. He realizes he can't with the
And
horn,
he honks
and
his
then
shit.
proceeds to like run down the garage door with his truck,
Oh,
which that
yeah.
yeah, that caught me off. I think the better scenes are the scenes where like they just completely catch you off guard.
Mhm. Even, like,
Um,
that initial reveal of Vicky
oh
in the
yeah,
beginning of the
yeah,
movie, I think was pretty a pretty good scene.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's very, because like you start off with like just the TV and
Mhm.
you're looking at the TV, and then when they reveal her, it's like whoa, like whoa, whoa, Vicky.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if you mentioned it, but, earlier that first scene where it's the TV, it's Art watching the TV, right? And then he, like, breaks the TV?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. He kicks it, no?
Yeah, I don't know if that's, like, part of the movie or if it's just, like, the intro,
Right,
but yeah.
right. Do you think that's him watching the interview and then being like, "Shit,
Oh,
she's
you
not dead"?
oh, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that's him after
Oh,
he,
yeah,
like,
that could be.
dies,
Ah,
right? That's
He's like,
Oh,
"No, I didn't get
yeah.
her."
he could be angry.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Like, he was like, "I was always meant to be this guy hiding in the shadows, but they
Mhm.
even name dropped me on TV, so now
Oh,
people
that's
know I
true.
exist."
Hmm.
I never even
Maybe
thought
it's
of
set
that.
up for part 2 or for
Oh,
the
yeah.
sequel, rather.
Yep.
Could be.
Which going talking about the sequel, let's go over the legacy of this movie. As Alex had mentioned, there was a previous installment which Art the Clown had appeared in. It was what called All Hallows Eve, I think.
And I just actually found out that that actually was not the first installment that he was included. He was actually
Oh.
included in a short, and let me find it.
Yeah, so Art the Clown, I guess, appeared in another something prior, 2008.
Okay, I
Well,
found it.
that's early.
Yeah, so that was actually not the first. So yeah, so that actually was not the first. So that was actually not the first time art appeared. So it was actually in 2006 on a 35 millimeter short film called The Ninth Circle. It was a short film premiered at the Black Sea Festival in 2008. So the film was shot in 2006
Mm,
and it was released in 2008. And
right.
he then went and wrote and directed Terrifier, which was actually another short film that was released in 2011 before becoming this film.
Right. So it was
It
the
was a
Ninth
short on
Circle,
YouTube. Yeah.
Mm.
and then it was the Terrifier short, and then it's the anthology movie All Hallows Eve.
Well, All the Hallows Eve actually included the Terrifier short. It actually opens up with the
Oh,
Terrifier short.
oh, I see, I see.
Yeah. So it has that anthology, and then there's the second Hallows Eve, which also includes art, but I think a little bit less of them.
Right.
And
And then this
then
is
there's
his,
Terrifier, which
yeah,
is
the full
it's a
length
callback
Terrifier.
to the original short or the second short that art was included in, and
Hmm.
but the first short that really like I think Terrifier is more focused on him, while the Ninth Circle just included him,
Right.
if I'm correct. And so it's just kind of a callback to it, but
Interesting.
it's his first full movie.
So he's been in, like, other things, but
Yeah,
like
but
as
this is his
minor things.
first full feature, and he's actually about to get a sequel, which is Terrifier 2, and it's coming
Yep.
out 2021. I don't think they have a month, but I just know it's coming out next year.
Yeah, it went into production in 2019,
They've been trying to get it
and
done in a
it was
while.
yeah, it was supposed to come out this year from the interview I saw in October,
Yeah,
but it was delayed due to the pandemic going on. So yeah, as you
yeah,
said, it might be to 2021. So
but
yeah, Terrifier 2 will be coming out in a year or so.
we may review it when it comes out. We'll see how reception is to it.
Yeah, we'll see how this episode goes. And they said the director Damien Leone, I believe, he said that he wanted to like expand the story in part 2. So I'm guessing he's gonna go into like
They're probably gonna get more
characters.
origin
Yeah,
for him.
something that's more of a deeper cut since this was more of just a straightforward thing.
What do you think he is,
Mhm.
Enrique? Like, what do you think
Uh,
Art the Clown is?
well, obviously he's not mortal. I think he's immortal in some way, I guess, or undying, maybe.
Hmm.
Mhm.
But I do think I do agree with Robert with how he said that like 80s slashers needed that undying villain so that they could reappear in future movies, obviously. But yeah, that light flickering and everything at the end definitely I think pointed towards like some supernatural, assuming that it's like canon and not
Right.
just
Not
parodies
just
of
like a
80s. Yeah.
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 Yeah, because I have watched all the Jason movies and a
Mhm.
majority of the Freddy movies, and in one movie, so in the first one, in the first Nightmare, you get rid of Freddy by bringing him to the real world, and she like takes away the power she gave him by not believing in him. In the second film, they get rid of Freddy through love or something. I don't remember.
Something
Because
dumb like that.
the
Something
girl,
like that.
yeah. The third film, they get rid of Freddy because they bury his remains on consecrated ground. In the fourth one, the fourth one, I hate the way they get rid of Freddy in this one. They they show him his reflection, and he like,
Really?
yeah, she pulls up a mirror, and she's like, because there's this stupid dream,
Is that
nursery
the
rhyme.
Dream Warriors?
That's Dream Master.
Dream Master.
Dream
Dream Warriors.
Masters.
Dream Warriors is the third one. That's probably everyone's favorite Nightmare sequel. It's really good.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Is when they each have like weird powers, right?
What a
Like the
stupid
people,
name
Yeah,
though.
they have like kind
cause
of like dream powers, I guess.
yeah, cause they
Something like that.
realize that like Freddy uses the dreams to his advantage.
Mhm.
So why it's like the concept of lucid dreaming. You control your own dreams to combat him,
Oh. Uh-huh.
which is pretty cool. The title though, yeah, agreeing with Alex. When I first heard Dream Warriors, I was like, that's pretty whack. And then I
Yeah,
watched the
it's pretty whack.
it's actually really great. But Dream Master is where she pulls up the mirror and he sees himself in the mirror and
Mhm.
he's like torn apart and it's at that point I have not seen Dream Child, which is the fifth film, because of
Mhm.
Dream Master. I hated it so much. I was like, no. But then also with the Jason movies, he I don't remember how he's taken out in the third movie, but in the no, he's I think kind of killed in the third one at the end. He's taken to like the morgue in the fourth one. He comes back. They don't explain how. He dies in the fourth. He dies in the fourth with the machete going through his head.
Mhm.
He's not in the fifth film, but he comes back in the sixth, like through a Frankenstein-esque revival where like he's hit in the chest. His body is through like a fence post and it's struck by lightning and he comes back. He's taken under the lake in that one. He comes out of the lake through telekinesis in the seventh. I know what. uh, and then he is once again taken down under the lake. And then movie eight, he's taken out of the lake again. It's just again, as I said, like you defeat the villain in one movie, and then you have to undo that for the
Right.
next to have a sequel, and then you obviously have to defeat him to have a satisfying conclusion.
Mhm.
But then again, you bury yourself in the ground because then you have to bring him back in the next film, um, which is what I think this is trying to do at least. But then, yeah, but then I think that's what bogs down sequels. But yeah, hopefully they don't do that in the second.
Right.
So
I
yeah,
definitely think that it's gonna. I don't know. I think it's gonna be pretty good.
yeah,
I have good hopes for it.
I feel like people have noticed what he was capable of doing with his budget.
Yeah,
That more bigger names would probably want to be associated with the next installment. Hopefully.
yeah. I just hope it
Um.
doesn't become like one of those things like, oh, now I have all the budget in the world. Now let's go crazy.
Oh no. As we had talked about earlier, going over the critics and the general public's opinions on it, a lot of people it's again split down the middle. A lot of people don't like it, but a lot of people actually do like it. I know when the movie came out, a lot of people were like, "Yay, Terrifier!" Like Terrifier is like the next huge horror hit. But I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, like it's not that great. It's just another horror movie." I think people like it because of the nostalgia it brings to folks.
Yeah,
Maybe.
and
Um,
again, it's just another mindless horror movie. So
yeah, that's my thing with it. The reason it's low on my list is because it's just another horror movie. It doesn't bring anything new to the table. All the movies above this, I would say, have interesting concepts that they try to develop. Whether they execute their concepts bad or good is you'll see how it ranks, but they at least bring something new. This movie I feel like it's just a slasher. It ain't making anything new, I guess.
yeah,
That's how most people felt about the movie, I'd say as well. It's nothing
yeah.
new, it's just
And again, it was pretty
another.
divided. People who loved it for for what it was, mindless slasher. Not much
Yeah.
story, but really good practical effects. People who hated it for the same reasons.
Yeah.
Again, that's where you get the kind of like split reaction. But for me, I honestly feel like for what they had,
Yeah. Oh, they
they did pretty good
definitely
job.
made
They
yeah.
did a really good job, and I mean the fact that they're getting a sequel, and I feel like it's gonna be a lot bigger.
Mhm.
I just think it's going places.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I'd say that's pretty much it for everything we have to talk about for Terrifier.
Yep.
Next episode, movie number 93, going up. Hey Alex, you feeling lucky for next episode?
Yes, I am Robert, and you know what I'm told is a friend with weed is a friend indeed, but a friend with gold is the best, I'm told.
Oh, really? Who told you that? Was it a little guy?
Yeah, a little green friend, and we'll leave it at
Oh,
that. Leave it at
okay. We'll
that.
see. We'll see where that goes. That'll be it. I'm your co-host Robert,
And I'm your co-host Alex, and this
and thank you,
was
Enrique, for having us on
Oh yeah.
Terrifier.
and
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
We'll see you guys next episode on The Witching Hour.
See you guys.
Bye.